What do we do when people we love hurt us, family members, through no fault of our own? And that pain is very real. And it's sometimes difficult not to turn that pain into anger. What do we turn to for that healing and to deal with that very real pain?
First thing, my dear, anger begets anger. Hurting can be replaced not only by hurting but healing. It's difficult, but if really you want to bring a change, then rather than hurting others or being angry at others, be strong and try to heal yourself, and your healing can heal others also. I have seen people in relationship because they are hurt. It happens sometimes they do things so weird that other person can feel hurt and can feel miserable, but it's not the way. I met so many people, giving them advice. If a dog is mad, is on the street and bites you, what do? You bite the dog back, or what you do? Dog is a dog, but you're not a doggy. Dog is mad. Don't be mad. Don't be dog. If she became doggy or he became doggy, you don't become doggy. Expression also is not the answer. Suppression also is not the answer. Express, you hurt other. Suppress, you hurt yourself. But forgiveness is the answer. Forgiveness does not mean she is okay or he is okay. Let God take care of it. You are not the policeman of everybody's karma. You don't have to be after her or after him. Let God take care of it. He has to deal with his own karma. But you don't create your new file. You have enough old files to deal with. Hurting means, being angry means creating a new file. And if you create a new file, means you have to deal with that file. You have to respond back. It's up to you. Situation is there, you want to react or you want to respond. And it is also in your hand, you want to deal this with to make it better of your life or make it better her life or the other person's life. It's up to you. And it's in your hand. A choice is given to you. And that's why you need meditation. That's why you need this GPS connection. Then when you are connected with that GPS, you take a breath, you take a deep breath, and before you take any action or any reaction, you think twice. That's what meditation gives you. It's easy to react, but it's not easy to respond. You have to take back. Think twice, think many times before you react. And your anger can beget anger, can breed anger, will not help you, would not heal you. But your forgiveness will heal you and will change other person also, not today, maybe later. But even now, add changes, doesn't matter, but at least you have not opened your own file, a new file. The forgiveness is the best way. And if you want to go one step further, forget also. Not only forgive, we forgive, but we don't forget. Because we have to move on. Forgive, forget, and move forward is the way.
The question for you is in response to the notion of choice and the response and the reaction. When you talk about letting go, it is the choice of action or non-action, and how in our lives we make those choices based on stepping back for a moment, but then the response that we give. How do we know in a moment, are we letting go to let go, or are we letting go to make a response? Are we having a choice of action or a choice of non-action? How is that letting us able to let go?
Action and non-action and response. Everything that we do is actually an action. You could say something that hurts me, and I could feel really good about myself for the fact that I didn't act, meaning I didn't punch you in the face or say something mean back to you or throw an egg on you or something. But if I'm sitting here and my stomach is all tight and my heart's beating really fast and my palms are sweating, well, there's an action in there. It's a different action than punching you in the face or throwing an egg on you, but it's not non-action. As we live, whatever we do, there's action. And so the choice that we need to make is about right action. In this moment, what's the right action? And that's where we talk so frequently, and Puja Swamiji teaches so much about grabbing that space in the moment. If you say something and it hurts me, and I reach up my hand and slap you, or I reach an egg and I throw it on you, or I think it's instinctive. I may even later say, I don't know what happened. It was automatic. Well, it wasn't automatic. There was a chain of events that took place in my mind, from my reaction internally to what you said, to a processing of that reaction, to a command from my arm to reach down, to grab a tomato, to throw it on you. There's a chain of events that took place, and between each of the links in the chain, there's a space. And that's what the practice of meditation gives us, is how to grab that space. Because non-action is very different from no reaction. Puja Swamiji talks so frequently about no reaction. Non-action does not mean no reaction. No reaction is, my breath is still okay, my heart rate's still okay, my palms are still okay, I'm not having fantasies of throwing an egg or a tomato on you. No reaction is, that artery of my life is so clear of cholesterol that the moment has just flowed right through it. In a body of water that's very, very deep, any ripple, first of all, it goes away very, very quickly, and it's only on the surface. But if the water is very shallow, and you create a wave, it could last a very long time, and it's going all the way down to the bottom. In our lives, the deeper and deeper our practice can go, the deeper and the deeper the flow can go in our lives, the easier no reaction really becomes, because that which happens is like a ripple on the surface. But the more shallow our lives are, everything that happens throws us. We get stuck at a red light that we didn't think we had time to get stuck at. Somebody cuts us off on the freeway. The lady takes too long to check out our groceries. The tiniest little things. Because our life has become so shallow, everything creates these great ripples. So that place of no action that you're talking about can really only be no action when we've sunk deep into a space that's not touched by whatever would have caused the reaction, where the flow is just coming.
Myself, I have been meditating quite a few years, more than 7 years, and I have spoken with others. And at some point, there is the feeling that you are already detached of everything. But there are some points that it's like you're living in a dream. And sometimes that has been very challenging. What you can tell me about that?
Sometimes you feel that you're in touch with everything, and sometimes you feel like you're living in a dream. Yes and yes. They're both true. It is a dream, and we are in touch with everything. When we talk about spirituality, that's what spirituality means. It means we're connecting with the spirit. I always say, the material perspective says, I end here. This is where me ends. Then there's this space. Then you start there. You end there. There's that space. He starts there. He ends there. But the spiritual perspective says, no. That's an illusion. I don't actually end anywhere. I mean, if you looked at me under a microscope, what you'd see would be a whole bunch of swirling electrons. There's no fine boundary where I end. And then if you looked at a little bit more powerful microscope, the finer your microscope, the blurrier and blurrier and blurrier the boundary of who I think I am would become. So yeah, we are one with everything. And that's one of the most beautiful things to come out of meditation. For so many of us, one of the first things that happens in our meditation practice is we lose the sense of where I end and the cushion begins, or where I end and the room begins. And it's only a short leap before losing the sense of where I end and where you begin, where I end and the world begins. So that's a wonderful place. And yeah, it is a dream. And it's a dream within a dream. And what we're all doing here is waking up. As Puja Swamiji says, when you wake up, it's morning. Whenever that is. And so the more open our eyes become, the more awake we become from that dream. And then a little while later we realize, oh, that was also a dream. That which I thought was reality, that was also a dream. And then we have another experience, and then we realize, oh, that was also a dream. And it keeps going until we actually finally attain that divine state, that samadhi or union or nirvana or whatever, moksha, whatever word we use for it. So yeah, don't worry. Yes and yes.
Going back to the jungle, and so you and the teachings you were receiving, and it's pretty, Chaldo, I believe, is the heart of the teaching we all have to learn and embody. So, but at your level, at the time of the training, you were really letting go of many things, and probably also letting go of expectations and angers and frustration. So, in your particular case, the master was teaching about expectation, about even realization.
In my case, if you ask me, I was just sitting in front of him and drinking and drinking and drinking. listening from within, never asked any question. And there was no urge to ask any question. Just being with him, you were being full. Feeling full all the time. There was no space for any question. And nothing but realization. And that's why I said, Chodo I never understood, but Jodo I always understood. You understand?
Yes.
And Jodo means realization. Chodo means expectations. That part I never understood. I never tried to understood even. One thing was Jodo, that connectivity. That connectivity which made me one with him. That realization was always there all the time, and there was no space for expectations or living expectations or living expectations. Not living expectation and living expectations. There was no space even for that in that realization. Just that divine, that divinity, nothing but divinity, nothing but